So several years back, my dad, my brother, and I, we all worked within a mile of each other in downtown Denver. So we'd carpool in together, and we'd always listen to this morning zoo program on the radio called Lewis and Floorwax. It was a typical morning zoo type program. There was Rick Lewis, and he was sort of the straight man, the ringmaster who sort of kept all the trains running on time. And then there was Michael Floorwax, who was the crazy guy who was always doing crazy stuff. And it was kooky and zany, but what I remember most about Lewis and Floorwax was that there was this commercial that they'd air every day, and it was for this mortgage company. And there was this guy, and he was a real used car salesman type, trying to convince you to refinance your house, and how the rates were low, and the closing costs with his company were better than every other company out there in existence. But my favorite thing was that at the end of the commercial, he would use his slogan. He would say, "So call us today. It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of planet Earth." And I always thought that was a really ballsy slogan, the biggest no-brainer in the history of planet Earth. So I've titled this video Stephen King's Music Advice. And once I tell it to you, you're going to say, oh, that sounds a lot like the biggest no-brainer in the history of Earth, because it really is. But I don't really do all that much reading. I mean, why read when you can watch TV or look at YouTube or watch Netflix or listen to music? You know, reading seems like it's for dummies, but people do like reading, and I read Stephen King's book recently on writing, and it's Stephen King basically talking about his method for writing. So the reason I read Stephen King's book is not because I really want to be a writer or anything, but it's because I respect Stephen King and his level of output. And I feel like if someone's good at a specific discipline, that advice will apply to any other discipline, especially in the arts and in creativity. So I wanted to see what Stephen King had to say about writing and see if I could use it to inform my journey in music. And as I got more and more into this music thing, I realized that for me it was going to be quantity is quality. The more that I did, the more I would benefit. So I wanted to be prolific, and I read Stephen King's book because he's one of the most prolific writers out there. It seems like he busts out a 1,000-page book every year, and I wanted to know what's the secret. And he goes through a lot of different tips and tricks for writing in that book, but there's one main thing that he advocates. And he says if you want to be a writer, you have to write a lot and you have to read a lot. And that might seem like the biggest no-brainer in the history of planet Earth, but that type of advice can be used if you focus it on music as well. If you want to be good at music, I think that you have to listen to a lot of music and you have to write a lot of music. You have to play as many instruments as you can get your hands on and constantly be composing little pieces, trying to sing, writing songs. And you also have to listen to what's out there and try to gain inspiration from what's going on, decide what you like and what you don't like, and move forward. We have this amazing world at our fingertips with apps like Spotify, Apple Music. Some guy the other day was using Deezer, never even heard of it, but he had access to my band's stuff on Deezer. I didn't even know it was there. Beats Music, Amazon Music, whatever you use is fine, but you have more access to music now than you ever have. So when Stephen King says, in order to be a writer, you have to read a lot and write a lot, it may seem like the biggest no-brainer in the history of planet Earth, but it's a very astute observation, and it applies to music as well. So I just wanted to share that little observation with you. You know, if you want to be good at music, well, take Stephen King's advice and listen to a lot of music and write a lot of music, even if it may seem like the biggest no-brainer in the history of planet Earth. Thanks for watching, everyone.